भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निधि नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री राधा गोविंद की जय, गौरताई की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna. We will start with the sloka, 3rd canto, 29th chapter, verse number 14. Please chant the sloka after me. Sa eva bhakti yogakhya,
sa eva bhakti yogakhya,
atyantika udahritaha, yena tivrajya trigunam, मद्भावायोपपद्यते योगाख्या आत्यन्तिका उदाहृतः येन तीव्रज्य त्रिगुणम् मद्भावायोपपद्यते एव भक्ति योगाख्या आत्यन्तिका उदाहृतः येन तीव्रज्य त्रिगुणम् मद्भावायोपपद्यते
स एव
भक्ति योगाख्या अत्यंतिका उदाहृता येन तीव्रज्य त्रिगुणम् मद्भावायोपपद्यते। स एव भक्ति योगाख्या आत्यंतिका उदाहृता येन तीव्रज्य त्रिगुणम् मद्भावायोपपद्यते। Hare Krishna. Anyone likes to chant the sloka?
Hare Krishna Mataji. सैव भक्ति योगाख्या आत्यांतिक उदाहरितः येन तिव्रज्य त्रिगुणं मद्भावायो उपपद्यते। हरे कृष्ण माताजी।
स एव भक्ति योगाख्या आत्यांतिक उदाहरितः येन तिव्रज्य त्रिगुणं मद्भावायो उपपद्यते।
हरे कृष्ण माताजी। स एव आत्यांतिक उदाहरितः येन तीव्रज्य त्रिगुणं मद्भावायोपपद्यते। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Thank you. We see the synonyms. Saha, this, eva, indeed, bhakti yoga, devotional service, akyaha, called, atyantika, the highest platform, udahritaha, explained, yena, by which, ativrajya, overcoming, triguna, the three modes of material nature, madbhavaya, to my transcendental stage, upapadhyate, one attains. Translation: By attaining the highest platform of devotional service, as I have explained, one can overcome the influence of the three modes of material nature and be situated in the transcendental stage as is the Lord. By attaining the highest platform of devotional service, as I have explained, one can overcome the influence of the three modes of material nature and be situated in the transcendental stage as is the Lord. Yes, Hare Krishna, Supriya Mataji. Can you unmute?
Mataji, there's some kind of background noise from your end, Mataji.
Even now? 1 second. Is it better now?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Pada Shankaracharya, who is supposed to be the leader of the impersonalist school of philosophers, has admitted in the beginning of his comments on Bhagavad Gita that Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond the material creation. Except for him, everything is within the material creation. It is also confirmed in the Vedic literature that before the creation, there was only Narayana. Neither Lord Brahma nor Lord Shiva existed. Only Narayana, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu or Krishna, is always in the transcendental position, beyond the influence of material creation. The material qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance cannot affect the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is called Nirguna, free from all the tinges of material qualities. Here, the same fact is confirmed by Lord Kapila. One who is situated in pure devotional service is transcendently situated as is the Lord. Just as the Lord is unaffected by the influence of material modes, so too are his pure devotees. One who is not affected by the three modes of material nature is called a liberated soul or Brahma Bhuta soul. Brahma Bhutaha Prasannatma is a stage of liberation. Aham Brahmasmi, I am not this body. This is applicable only to the person who constantly engages in the devotional service of Krishna and is thus in the transcendental stage. He is above the influence of the three modes of material nature. It is a misconception of the impersonalists that one can worship any imaginary form of the Lord or Brahman and at the end merge in the Brahman effulgence. Of course, to merge in the bodily effulgence, Brahman of the Supreme Lord is also liberation as explained in the previous verse. Ekatva is also liberation, but that sort of liberation is never accepted by any devotee. For qualitative oneness is immediately attained as soon as one is situated in devotional service. For a devotee, that qualitative equality, which is the result of impersonal liberation, is already attained. He does not have to try for it separately. It is clearly stated here that simply by pure devotional service, one becomes qualitatively as good as the Lord himself. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sa eva bhakti yogakhya. Atyantika udahridaha. Yena tivrajya trigunam. Madhavayopapatyate. Translation: by attaining the highest platform of devotional service, as I have explained, one can overcome the influence of the three modes of material nature and be situated in the transcendental stage as is the Lord. Hare Krishna. So, in the previous verse, we saw how Kapila was saying that even a pure devotee rejects all the kind of liberations, right? All the 5 types of liberation. Because a devotee is happy wherever he is until he is doing devotional service. Once I was in Vrindavan during Prabhupada's disappearance day. So all the Prabhupada's disciples were sitting, and one Prabhupada disciple said that Prabhupada is not in the spiritual world. We are like, what? If Prabhupada is not in the spiritual world, how can we go? He's a pure devotee. And she said, she paused and she said, there was tears in her eyes, and she said, in spiritual world, there's no preaching. Everybody is pure devotee. Prabhupada cannot sit a moment without preaching. So he might be in some other universe, some other planetary system, some other universe, in some of the planets, mostly Earth or in some of the hellish planets, might be in this same universe in a hellish planet, preaching Krishna consciousness there. That's why when his disciples leave their body, it's like Prabhupada is taking them. Prabhupada is building a team there, the ISKCON team there. So those devotees are in the highest platform of devotional service, highest platform. So when you say the highest platform of devotional service, what it can be? What is the highest platform of devotional service one can attain? Yes? You can unmute.
By serving Lord.
What is that platform?
Gopi Bhava, Mataji.
Brahma Bhuta.
Gopi Bhava, but what is that bhav? What is that bhav of the gopis?
Pralam Bhav. Vipralam.
Daso.
Vipralambha bhav, yes. Before reaching Vipralambha bhav, what is that stage we are all striving for?
Prema Bhava Mataji.
Prema. Na? So we know that stages Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Nirvritti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. So once you reach Prema, and then all that Vipralambha Bhava and everything comes. So highest platform of devotional service is Prema. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Aradhi Bhagavan Vrajeshitanaya Tadhama Vrindavanam Remya Kaschit Upasana Vrajavatu Vargene Kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumarto Mahan. Prema Pumarto Mahan. That's the goal of life. You have to worship Aradhi Bhagavan Vrajeshitanaya. You have to worship Krishna in Vrindavan, and even Vrindavan, Tadhama Vrindavan. Vrindavan has to be worshipped. Ramya Kashit Upasana Vrajavadus. The Vrajavadus are the gopis. Theirs is the best type of worship. And he says, Prema Pumarto Manhan. That's the goal of life, to get Krishna Prema. So highest platform of devotional service is Prema. And here it is said, in that case, he can overcome the influence of the three modes of material nature. He's in the transcendental stage, that's the Brahma Buddha state. Right? That's what Bhagavad Gita explains. Brahma Buddha prasannatma nashochati nakamshati sama sarveshu buddheshu matbhakti labate param. So Krishna says that, right? Brahma Buddha prasannatma nashochati nakamshati. When you reach that stage, you don't lament for anything, or you don't desire for anything. Because see, whatever Krishna gives, he is actually satisfied. Nothing belongs to us. Ishavasamitam sarva, everything belongs to Krishna. So if a devotee lose something also, he just say, it's the will of the Lord. It's Krishna's mercy. Right? Nashochati nakamshati. This stage cannot be imitated. We can't copy it also. We can just hope one day we'll reach that stage. So that's called Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. They're very happy. And Nashochati nakamshati. Sama sarvesha buddheshu. They see everyone equally. And then they get pure devotional service of Krishna, right? So he says one who's transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman, and he'll be very joyful. He never laments nor desire to have anything, and he's equally disposed to everyone. And that stage, he gets pure devotional service. Pure devotional service is very rarely achieved, but then Prabhupada mentions here that this is the goal of life, like pure devotional service. You should not ask Krishna for anything else. We should just ask, please engage me in your service. Just give us pure devotional service. Right? That's what we want. We don't want anything else. So here it is said, the three modes of material nature will bind us. That's why we are called conditioned soul, Bhadatma. But somebody who's above the three modes, that's transcendently situated, he's a liberated soul. Within this material body itself, but he's not, here it is said, one who's not affected by the three modes is called a liberated soul or a Brahma Bhuta soul. Srila Prabhupada was a liberated soul. Nitya Siddhas, they are liberated souls. Even though in the material body, the consciousness is highly elevated. That's called liberate. So it's like a dry coconut. I've given this example. It's within the shell, but it's not attached to the shell. When you shake it, it's not attached. We are like wet, young coconut. We are like, we have to be scrapped out. We have to be grated out. We're so attached to the material things. But a pure devotee knows that he's not this body, and he's in that Brahma Bhuta state. That one who's not affected by the three modes. That's called a liberated soul. So Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says, Iharyasye harirdase karmana manasa gira nikileshu api avasteshu jivan muktasa uchyate. So that person is already liberated. Jivan muktasya uchyate. This is from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu from Vani quote of Prabhupada, 1.2.187. It says, a person acting in the service of Krishna with Karmana Manasa Gira, body, mind, and words, is a liberated person. He's already liberated, even within the material world. Even within the material world, he is considered to be liberated. Ihar yasye harirdase karmana manasa gira Nikhileshu api avasteshu jivan mukta sa uchyate. So the Srila Prabhupada was like that. Even though in the material body, he was already liberated because his words, body, deeds, everything is used in Krishna's service. Okay, that's the definition, right? Body, mind, and words, everything is used in Krishna's service. Person acting in the service of Krishna with body, mind, and words is already a liberated person within the material world. Okay, so sometimes we think, oh, the Sayuja, Samithya, Saloke, Sashti, this is Mukti. And Mukti is possible only after death. No, the soul get liberated. But that's not the real Mukti. Real liberation means within the material body, the consciousness being fixed on Krishna. That is real liberation. That is what we should strive for. So Rupa Goswami also says, this is how pure devotees are. Okay. So when I say about liberated souls, I remember a nice example of Vamshidas Babaji. Heard about him? He was in Mayapur, Nadia, and he was in the time of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. That's Prabhupada's guru. So Vamshidas Babaji was in a higher stage of bhava. In bhava itself, there is mahabhava, prema. You can't understand. You think that person is crazy. So the whole village of Nadia, they thought Vamshidas Babaji is mad, crazy. He lives alone in small bhajan kutir and he has 6 deities, Gaur, Gadadhar, Nitai, Radhakrishna and Gopal. So like 6 of them. So Gaura, that is Mahaprabhu, then Nitai, Nityananda Prabhu and Gadadhar were his 3 boys. And his bhava is in such a stage that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told his disciples not to meet the Babaji again because they'll offend him. Once what happened, Babaji used to talk to his deities. He lives in a very simple kutir. He goes do madhukari and he doesn't take cooked foods. He himself has to cook for his deities. So he'll get only raw vegetables, rice and everything. And then he himself cooks. While cooking, he speaks to them. He doesn't speak to anybody in the whole village. He speaks only to his deities and the deities reciprocate. That was his bhav. Nobody could understand. He was such a simple person, but he used to cook very nicely for Gaur, Gadadhar, Nitai, Radhakrishna and Gopal. Small deities. And when he go for Madhukari, he never locks his kuti. There's nothing so precious there, but still he doesn't lock it. So everyone asks, why Babaji, you're not locking your kuti? He's like, I already have a lock, has 3 keys. 1 key is with Gaura, 1 is with Nitai, 1 is with Gadadhar. They are taking care of the house. Yeah, house, they should take care, no? So one day what happened, one robber came. There was a nice necklace somebody gifted for Gadadhar and that was stolen. So he got angry with the deities and he chastised the deities. I was like, who is Babaji talking to? He was literally scolding the deities. It's your house, it's your property and you are not capable of guarding your house. So he started scolding them. And once Gauramitai's the offering, bhog offering vessel was lost. Somebody stole it. So Babaji didn't offer bhog for Gaurnitais on that day. He gave to Radhakrishna and Gopal and he's like, if Gaurnitai have to eat, they have to bring their own bowl. So people can't understand the bhav of this Babaji. This Babaji was in a higher stage that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati told the disciples not to meet that Babaji. So what a more thing happened was a fisher woman came there and she was selling fish and Babaji saw the fish and he had that small desire to, he was like, oh, a nice fish. He had that desire. So immediately when the lady left, he went and chastised his deities. How can you make this happen? I'm doing your devotional service. I'm following the 4 regulatory principles. I'm chanting your rounds. I'm doing devotional service for so many years and you made me have a desire for that fish. How can this happen? So what did he do? He tied all his deities in a rope and he came out. And all the village were shocked. What is this Babaji going to do? He went to Ganges and threw the deities in the Ganges. And they all went down, the deities, and the other side of the rope was under his leg so that they don't come up. And the Babaji was just standing there. And everybody was like shocked. What is happening? I mean, this is like, if you think in our aspect, in the concept, it's like deity aparad or seva aparad, if you say. You tie the deities in a rope and throw it in the Ganges. He was so angry. So when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's disciples saw this, they ran to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati like, what is happening? He's gone mad. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, never go to that Babaji. You can't understand his bhav. He's like, don't think that Babaji is in Maya. He's in Mahabhava stage, which we can't understand. his reciprocation towards his deities are more than we can think of. I mean, because he thinks them as so much of Valsilya Bhav, and he thinks them as his own deities. So this is how a liberated person is. That whatever the liberated person do, Vaishnavera Kriya Pudra, you can't understand what Vaishnavas are doing if they are liberated souls. So this is was Vamshita's Babaji in Mayapur, that he was living during that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's time, that he had so much bhav towards the deities that he himself was drowning the deities. I mean, we can't imitate, we can't copy and all that, but because the deities talk to him, the deities reciprocate to him. So that's in Mahabhava stage or a Prema stage. But normally, usually, when Prabhupada was in Prema stage, he never exposed it, because normal people can't understand. No, they don't understand this, and they start exhibiting. They also start showing that I'm also in a bhava stage. You've seen so many professional Bhagavad reciters, they cry, and just for a show. If they are actually liberated, then they won't get money for Bhagavatam. I mean, you say, in nowadays in my place there's a Bhagavad Saptah happening for 7 days. And it's like initially there's a deal between the Bhagavad reciter and the temple authorities. Like, you, this much percentage for you, this much for me, and they do this Rukmini Swayamvar, so that all the girls come, and then they all want to get married to a nice boy, and then they get money from them. And one day it will be like Kujela's the Sudama Vipra story, where the chief rice is brought, and just money making, nothing else is happening during that time. So if they are really liberated, then they won't take money for the Bhagavad Saptah. So that's how a liberated person is. Like, we have a living example of Vamshita's Babaji, how he was. And also it is said, we can't understand Vaishnava. Vaishnavera Jati Buddhi. We should not say that one Vaishnava is lower than another Vaishnava. That's a black Vaishnava, white Vaishnava, foreign Vaishnava. No. We can't just say like that. So here it is said that a Vaishnava, we should not consider, no one should consider a Vaishnava belong to a particular caste or a creed. That's an offense if we do that. So if we should not, okay, for to understand purpose, we might say the American devotee or Indian devotee, but then devotee is a devotee. It doesn't matter which dress they are in, right? So here, no one should consider the deity in the temple to be made up of stone or wood. And no one should consider the spiritual master as an ordinary man. Guru na matir. Guru so na matir. Guru so na matir means we should not consider the spiritual master as an ordinary being. No, before taking shelter, before taking initiation, nobody knows who Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj is. And they just speak whatever they know, and they see his external things, his bodily deformities, and they say, oh, this. He is also a man. I mean, I'm also breathing, he's breathing, he's eating, I'm eating. But we should understand they are already liberated souls. They are just in this material body to do the karma, whatever devotional service, but they are already liberated. So we should not consider the spiritual master as an ordinary human being. That's an offense. And we should not think Charanamrita or Ganges like an ordinary water, and nor consider the Hare Krishna Mahamantra to be a material vibration. Okay, all this is Krishna's mercy. So how can a person be liberated? That's because he's engaging in devotional service, constantly engaging in devotional service of Krishna, and then we can attain that stage. Satatam kirtayantama, always. Sada prasangan mama virya samita, always constantly engaging in devotional service. Ahetuki apradihata, without motivation, without uninterrupted. That's how devotional service should be, right? And that, in that case, he can overcome the three modes of material nature, constantly engaged in the devotional service of Krishna. So when we constantly engage means what? The chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is also like that. Once Prabhupada was saying that there were two flats, and in one flat Mr. John, and the other flat there was another person. So there was a thief who broke into John's house, and he could see in the veranda there was a thief. Now how to wake him up? He didn't have his contact number. He didn't know how to do. So he just shouted, John, there's a thief in your balcony. This is shouted so much that person woke up, and then the thief ran away. So Prabhupada's like, this material sound can wake your material body. Now we keep alarm tone, and then it keeps ringing, and then you wake up. So the material sound is waking your material body. Why can't the spiritual sound wake your spiritual body? Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not from this material world. Gologera Prema than Harinam Sankirtan. It's coming from Gologa. So when you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, it wakens your spiritual body, the spiritual soul. No? So when we say Aham Brahmasmi, I am not this body, we should do something for the soul then. We know we are not this body, we know we are spirit soul. What are we doing for that soul? No, we should nourish that soul. So Prabhupada's like, that's, then when we do loudly, what happens? The mind won't get distracted, it comes to that stage. So as you keep chanting from Nama Aparas to Nama Abhas and Shuddha Nam, when you chant Shuddha Nam, then Krishna Prema awakens. That's why that day when Murli Sham Prabhu came, he was saying that whatever we are chanting, it's material. Then all the devotees like, we are doing material things. I mean, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is, even Prabhupada was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We are also chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. But it's not affecting us, but it's affecting him because he's chanting Shuddha Nam. We are chanting Nama Aparat. That's the difference, right? It's the same mantra, but the bhav is different. We are immersed in the bhav. Have you seen Prabhupada chanting? He's so immersed in the chanting. Always, right? Always chanting. So here it says, for a devotee, the ekatva, liberation. That means a devotee doesn't want any type of liberation and didn't want to become one with the Lord. But ekatva also means to be situated in devotional service. That's what we want. No? Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatat bhakti rahedu. We just want devotional service from the Lord, because it is said, when you do pure devotional service, one becomes qualitatively as good as the Lord. Qualitatively. Now we are qualitatively one with the Lord. That's Achinta Peta Peta Tattvam. Quantitatively, we can't be never with the Lord. But for a devotee, the qualitative equality, that is the result of impersonal liberation, is already attained. Because when you do bhakti, mukti is already there. Villamangalam Thakur also says that, no? Mukti Mugiladanjali Swayam Sevaya Rasmi. Mukti Devi is in his doorstep. And like, can I serve you? But then a devotee doesn't want liberation. He's happy doing devotional service in this material body. He's already liberated. This I'm talking about pure devotees. Pure devotees are already liberated, because for them, doing devotional service is a great thing, and they don't want any kind of liberation. Because it is said, Kaivalyam Narakayate. Kaivalyam Narakayate means liberation is like, this is Prabodhananda Saraswati says, Kaivalyam Narakayate. Kaivalya means becoming oneness with the Brahman. That's like hellish for a devotee. They don't want to become one with the Lord, because there's just Brahmananda, there's no Sevananda, there's no happiness you get from service. And there's a great preacher in ISKCON now, very great preacher now, all over the world. He's famous now for his preaching. And he was from IIT, very rich family, only son, very rich. So when he joined the ashram, so in that they have like brahmachari life, like few years, and then again you can decide whether you want to be a Grihastha or you want to be a Naishtik brahmachari and continue. So he was multi-rich. And then when his parents just came to know he joined the movement, they were a little upset. They want to come and see what he's doing. So he was wearing a torn t-shirt and he was cleaning the brahmachari bathrooms, toilets. So when the parents saw this, they were really upset. But he was feeling so happy that he's like, better than, I'm feeling much happy than sitting in an AC compartment in my job. I mean, whatever job he was doing. Even though materially it looks like, oh, he's cleaning a toilet, but then he's like, I'm getting the maximum pleasure. That's because he is into devotional service. When the devotional, that's a service attitude. And the service attitude is what any menial service also we get when we do that, with that kind of happiness. I think all of you agree. Right? Even if somebody comes and say you don't chant, you can't do that, because you're getting that happiness. Every day you're chanting the same mantra. Every day you sing the same song, only get bored. But Mahamantra, you never get bored. Pratipadam Purnamritasvaganam. Every step there is happiness. So here it is said that a devotee wants to be completely involved in devotional service, and he doesn't care for liberation, because liberation is just secondary. It's a byproduct of it. We don't want liberation, because, and in liberation, ekatva means impersonal, that is merging into the Brahman, sayuja mukti. A devotee never wants that at all, never accepted. That sort of liberation is never accepted by a devotee, because a devotee that want to become a servant of Krishna and not merge with the Lord. A green parrot doesn't merge with a green tree. It has its individuality. No, we don't want to become like bubbles and merge into the ocean. We want to become a fish and dive into the Bhakti Rasamrita, because the happiness which we get from devotional service is much, much greater than the happiness attained from liberation. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, any question, anything to add? So today let's meditate on Vamshidas Babaji. We can't imitate him and do with our deities like that, but still the bhav he reached, and that's the special mercy of Krishna. Yes, Sonia Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, when was this about Vamshidas Babaji? Like how long it was, Mataji? Very nice story. It was, in fact, like really, I wrote it quickly. I wrote it because it was such amazing.
Gaudiya Vaishnava. So he was living during the time of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So it's like, yeah, Prabhupada's guru, you know. So
okay, very nice. Like we can never hear. I will never hear such things anywhere else beside you. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prafulla Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Actually, Mataji, as Mataji said, it is an amazing story. Thank you for that. And whether that those deities he could bring or not, Mataji, from water.
I don't know all that, but I just heard that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati told us not to meet such Babajis, because even Vrindavan also, when you go, there are some fake Babajis, but then there are real Babajis also. We can't imitate them. Prabhupada's like, we can't become Haridas Thakur to run to Vrindavan and sit and chant. So, because we are not in that stage yet. You know, once one devotee was asking, in Nectar of Instruction, the last chapter, it says we should take bath in Radhakund, right? And I think when Vrindavan Yatra, many took bath in Radhakund. But Srila Prabhupada says not to take bath in Radhakund. But nowhere in the scriptures it is said you should not take bath in Radhakund. In fact, it is said you should take bath in Radhakund. You get Krishna Prema. But I was thinking why Prabhupada said like that. If Prabhupada said there's something behind it. Then one devotee, thanks to that devotee asked me, Mataji, why that is? Why Prabhupada is saying not to take bath in Radhakund? If you take bath once in Radhakund, you get Krishna Prema. It's easy. Now, why is he denying us to, you know, why? Why is Prabhupada saying not to take bath in Radhakund?
We should not keep our legs, Mataji.
We are not ready to get that prema yet. We are not ready, Mataji.
We are not fit, Mataji. We are not fit.
So, so what Prabhupada says is, you are not developed that bhav to get that prema. What we, like, see, what do you say? There's like some 1 kg rice, and you don't have that vessel to hold that 1 kg rice. You have your just hand and everything drops out. In the sense, we are not qualified, or we are not to that stage to get that prema or understand that bhav, that Radhakund is not different from Radha, and they dip the legs. Prabhupada says not to do that. And why? Because Prabhupada knows us. Why Prabhupada didn't give us so much of Goswami books and everything? Because we can't take it. We can't take it because Prabhupada knows that. No, we are so manda sumanda madhyam manda bhagyan, so unfortunate and so unintelligent people, so lazy people, that we can't take that bhav. So that's the reason. Otherwise, there's no offense in doing that. But then that's what Prabhupada says, that we are not ready to take that bhav. Once we are ready, then we get that prema. Okay. Hare Krishna, I think we can end here. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhe vacha patitanam bhavanibha vaishnavi koti vaishnavandi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna, everyone.